What if I told you that Usopp never lied? Not once, not even in the beginning. What if every so-called lie was actually a future event, spoken too early, misunderstood by everyone, including Usopp himself? And what if the final lie, the one lie that hasn't come true yet, is the key to understanding Usopp's true role in the final saga? Usopp is not comedy. He is structure. From the very first chapter Usopp appears in, One Piece teaches us how to see him. He is introduced screaming about pirates that don't exist, battles that never happened, glory he never earned, and the world laughs. But Ichiro Oda never laughs without planting something underneath. Usopp is not written like a normal character. He is written like a narrative echo. He says something ridiculous, and the story slowly bends to make it real. The pattern of Usopp's lies. Every Usopp lie follows the same structure. He speaks it first, everyone rejects it, time passes, the world changes. The lie becomes reality. This is not coincidence. This is intentional. Usopp does not predict the future consciously. He reveals it. Lie number 1. I have 8,000 followers! On the surface, it's insecurity, a weak kid trying to sound important. But Dressrosa changes everything. Usopp doesn't defeat enemies with strength. He doesn't conquer with haki. He doesn't rule with power. He becomes a god. People kneel. People pray. People believe. And belief in One Piece is reality shaping. Devil fruits are born from desire. Legends are born from belief. Gods are born from fear and hope. Usopp doesn't gain 8,000 soldiers. He gains 8,000 witnesses. Why God Usopp matters. God Usopp is not a joke title. It's the first time One Piece shows us something terrifying. Usopp's lies don't just come true. They scale upward. A small lie becomes a big truth. A personal delusion becomes global myth, which leads to something far darker. Lie number 2. I'm a brave warrior of the sea. Usopp repeats this lie constantly, and every time he disproves it. He runs, he cries, he begs. But here's the detail most people miss. Usopp never abandons his friends. He runs from danger, but he always comes back. Against Arlong, against Mr. 4, against CP9, against Sugar, against Page 1. Bravery in One Piece is not measured by fearlessness. It's measured by returning. Usopp always returns. Usopp is the most human Straw Hat. Luffy is insane. Zoro is unbreakable. Sanji is self-sacrificing. Robin is numb to trauma. Usopp? Usopp reacts like a real person. He panics. He doubts himself. He wants to live. And that's why his bravery matters more than anyone else's, because courage without fear is meaningless. Lie number 3. A giant goldfish pooped an island. This is the lie everyone dismisses, but this is where Oda laughs at us, because One Piece is now full of island-sized creatures, ancient beings, world-shaping entities. Elbaf exists. Giants exist. Creatures large enough to alter geography exist. Usopp described the future using childish language, because that's all he had at the time. Usopp and Elbaf were always linked. Usopp idolizes giants, not because they're strong, but because they live by one rule: honor above survival. That is everything Usopp lacks, and everything he wants to become. Lie number 4. I can command giants. This sounds impossible until you understand Elbaf. Giants do not follow kings. They follow stories. If Usopp dies standing his ground, giants will follow his legend forever. Elbaf does not value winning. It values how you lose. A warrior who runs is forgotten. A warrior who dies standing is immortal. Usopp fears death more than anyone. which makes him the only Straw Hat capable of embodying Elbaf's ideal fully. If you're still watching, then Usopp's story already matters to you. Subscribe for more One Piece Final Saga theories, because the biggest lies are still waiting to come true. The most important lie Usopp ever told. I will die as a brave warrior of the sea. This line is different. No joke, no exaggeration, no punchline. Usopp says it quietly, almost like a confession. Unfulfilled lies are Chekhov's guns. In One Piece, unfinished statements do not disappear. They wait. Usopp's lies always come true, which means this one must too. Unless Oda breaks his own pattern, and Oda never breaks patterns without tragedy. Why Usopp's dream requires death. Zoro's dream requires victory. Sanji's dream requires discovery. Nami's dream requires completion. Usopp's dream requires proof. You cannot prove bravery by surviving. You prove it by staying. The final war will not be fair. The final saga is about gods, Emu, ancient weapons, devil fruits tied to creation itself. Usopp cannot defeat gods, but he can defy them. Usopp's final stand. Picture this. Elbaf is burning. Giants are falling. The sky is breaking. Usopp is shaking. He wants to run, and for the first time, he doesn't. Not because he's fearless, but because he chooses to be brave. The death that creates a myth. Usopp's death wouldn't end his story. It would begin it. Giants would tell stories. Children would repeat his name. Warriors would swear oaths by him. Usopp doesn't become Pirate King. He becomes folklore. The irony of Usopp. The man who lied his whole life only tells the truth at the very end with his actions. Final message. Usopp will not be remembered as weak. He will be remembered as the man who was afraid of everything and still stood his ground. Last line. The liar becomes the legend. Usopp, the bravest warrior of the sea. Not because he was fearless, but because he stood his ground when it mattered most. Thank you for watching, and if you want to follow this story until the very end, subscribe for more One Piece Final Saga theories.